The market site here at the NASDAQ, and there's a crowd that's gathered outside. Some have been here since last night, they tell us. They came from Virginia, according to one source, to see the King of Pop ring or light up the opening bell, the wall here at the NASDAQ, occurring at 9:30. Stay tuned for that.
Posing for pictures this morning at the NASDAQ. As we mentioned, Michael Jackson is there to start the day of business. This is part of a big campaign to kick off his new single and his new album. Also celebrating 30 years as a solo artist. Michael Jackson turning 43 years old. Does that make you feel old?
That makes me feel very old because I remember the first albums of the Jackson 5. As a matter of fact, I still have them somewhere.
Well, that's what you're floating
there.
Right
they
now.
have the microphones up.
Square out here on the big billboard that's up there. You are floating up there at eyes, and so everybody can see you. And at night you'll be up there again today. Is John Branca with you this time?
No, he's in LA, but he will be.
Yeah.
This is Times Square?
That's Times Square, right there. That's Times Square. That's the new Times Square.
We got a lot of love for you out there. It's
Yes,
amazing.
sir.
Reading all the signs and
Where do you stay when you come to New York?
Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you put your hand on that because you're going to push down on that and this whole wall's going to light up, okay? What? No, at 9, see what it says 9? You're going to push at 9:30 in 18 seconds. Okay? Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you are up there now. So you're pushing it right. That's on CNN, CFA. Hey, you lit it all up. That is outstanding.
we got a poster from 1934, which we don't think you have in your collection of Shirley Temple. And it's the Christmas poster. I don't want to put, here we go. And,
Oh my God.
and it's happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Michael. Happy birthday to you.
I'm deeply moved. This is a very special moment for me. Thank you, David and Wick and NASDAQ. Thank you so much. I love you and all the fans. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. I think we can read some of that. Okay.
Not your average day on NASDAQ. Michael Jackson starting the business day there. Lots of fans outside, very excited. NASDAQ could use a little bit of a boost. It's having a tough time, 3 days of losing markets. The NASDAQ was down 21 points, Dow down 131 points yesterday. Let's go to our Bill Tush, who's standing outside that big board up by Times Square with all the fans. Bill?
We got the cake up. Yeah, they actually, they changed these models.
All right, while we wait, there he is. Hey, Bill,
Okay, I was just saying I'm surprised that Michael stayed as long as he did. Of course, the fans went crazy, and they presented him with a poster. The folks at NASDAQ presented him with a Shirley Temple poster from the 1930s, and he really seemed touched by it. You know, you think with all the things that people give him over the years, but he genuinely liked that. And a birthday cake, saying happy birthday. It's his 43rd birthday. Be interesting to see if the moonwalk gets a little slower at the concert next Friday night. But again, to talk back about why he's here is because NASDAQ is hosting a party after his concert next week at Madison Square Garden. And the fans came through the barricade, as you could expect, as soon as he came out. I wanted to talk to the girl from Germany, but when she saw Michael walk away, because she was almost ready to faint, but when Michael walked away, she thought he was coming out the side door and immediately ran to that. But the fans are still here, and I guess they'll hang around till he leaves and probably for a little while after that. But that's about the situation from NASDAQ in Times Square. Guys?
Michael Jackson getting a piece of cake for his 43rd birthday, as Bill was mentioning. He got a cake and a poster, a Shirley Temple poster. Michael Jackson turning 43 years old, marking 30 years as a solo artist. There's a concert, there's a new single, and a new album as well. Bill Tush, thank you, at Times Square. We're going to talk a little bit about how relevant Michael Jackson is to the pop scene coming up with a writer from Spin Magazine. Right now, though, it looks like there's more live pictures as Michael Jackson takes a bite. Looks like it's a vanilla cake for his 43rd birthday.
Are you surprised?
It's vanilla? I think you can say that, but I can't.
I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised? Okay. Do we still have Bill Tush with us? We don't. All right. Michael Jackson about to...
You can still see him.
Yes, you can still see him. The album that's coming out is called Invincible. We'll have to see if Michael Jackson is still invincible after 30 years as a solo artist.
Well, for the early reviews I've heard of the one single that's been talked about, have not been
Hasn't been getting a lot of play. The new single is called You Rock My World. And
have you heard it? Or heard about it?
I have not heard it. Apparently it's kind of hard to hear it because it's not getting incredible play on a lot of the radio stations. You have to think about who the kids are who are listening to Michael Jackson, who are listening to radio now, and Michael Jackson to them, when he was hot and really big, they probably weren't even alive.
I can't believe kids today even know who he is. I mean, he's been invisible. You haven't seen him, what? He hasn't been around or touring in
6 years,
7 years.
right.
He hasn't had an album out in 6 years. He's come out with maybe 1 or 2 videos that he did with Janet, and those didn't stick around very long either. So I am amazed to see that anybody under the age of, I don't know, 30 even knows who he is.
Let's go ahead and bring in Alan Light with Spin Magazine, who can address some of these issues. He's outside the NASDAQ with a lot of those fans. Alan, good morning.
Good morning.
Michael Jackson is 43 years old. Besides making us all feel very old, does he still have it?
Well, I think he has it. You know, the first single from the album just came out, the first song he's put out in 6 years. And the song sounds good. It's not great, but it's a nice, sort of modest, understated way to get back in the pop marketplace. And we'll see what happens when he gets back on the stage and when there's a full album to follow.
But when you're a superstar, Alan, you don't want to get in with a nice, understated way. You have to make a big statement.
Well, I think he's got some work in front of him. I mean, I heard you saying just before, for a younger audience, it's been a long time since Michael Jackson's been thought of as a musician, as a hit maker. I don't think he needs to come out swinging with a knockout right away. Right now, he just needs to get out there, reintroduce himself, get back on the radio, and let this project build a little bit. I think swinging too big right now would probably backfire.
A little tough to hear you with all the screaming there, Alan. Hopefully you can hear me. The single?
I can hear you.
Okay. Let's give him a second to cheer. Alan, the single's called You Rock My World. It's not getting a lot of play, is it, on a lot of urban radio stations?
Well, it's starting slowly. I think there's a lot of wait-and-see attitude about this single and about this project. If you're an 18, 20-year-old kid who's the bulk of the record-buying marketplace and of radio listeners, I don't know what you know about Michael Jackson, and I think the first thing you think of is the freak show and the rumors, and you know that he's a big celebrity. You don't necessarily know that he's a great musician or that he's a great performer and songwriter. So it's not going to be necessarily the first song straight away that's going to get him back in the deep end. We'll see what the rest of the record is, and certainly we'll see what these shows next week turn out to be, and how that's going to help people reconnect with Michael.
So he could use a really big hit, but the music industry as it stands right now could really use Michael Jackson as well, couldn't it?
Absolutely. Much like in 1982 when Thriller came out, the record business was in a recession then. This year we're looking at a year where overall record sales are down 10%, concert ticket sales are down 15%. The industry needs a blockbuster that's going to pull people back into record stores. Thriller did exactly that when video games were taking money out of the record business's pocket in the early 80s. We'll see whether he can have that sort of impact at this point. I don't think initially, right out of the gate, I think there's a lot of curiosity. I don't think this is a record that'll be a blockbuster straight away. If it's a great record, though, I mean, Michael Jackson's talents are inestimable. The one part that's not in question is how he can sing and how he can dance and how he can perform. So we'll see if he can turn around 6-8 years of bad press and weirdness.
An interesting way to put it on this morning. Alan Light with Spin Magazine, thank you so much. Once again, the single is called You Rock My World, and if you want to have a listen to it and haven't heard it on the radio, you can log on to michaeljackson.com and you can get a listen there.